If transgenderism is real, which it's not, but if it's real, then this article that I just read in Time magazine is totally normal. If transgenderism is not real, and it isn't, it is not real. I'm using lots of double negatives here. Then this article in Time magazine is the creepiest thing I've ever read. It's called The Pain and Pride of a Generation Changing How It Sees Gender. The cover photo, I'm going to block out the poor kid's face. The cover photo is Freedom, a two-spirit 13-year-old posing for a portrait for Time magazine. Time magazine just spent a year going around the country taking photographs of sexually confused little kids. This is how they describe it. They say that they're taking photos of gender expansive kids. Where is Chris Hansen when you need him? I wish Time magazine had called my house, said, hey, do you have any gender expansive kids living with you? Yeah, no, what's the age limit? Oh, I don't know, 13, maybe even younger. Yeah, we want to talk to them about their sexual desires and identities. Say, sure, come on over at 5 o'clock. I'd have Chris Hansen waiting in my kitchen. Hi, Time magazine? Yeah, why don't you take a seat right over here? Oh, no, I wasn't going to do nothing. No, why don't you, listen, Time magazine, why don't you take a seat right over here? What were you planning on doing? You want to take pictures of little kids with sexual confusion? It's super duper creepy. Our whole society would have known this 5 years ago, and exploitative and wrong and child abuse. Now we celebrate it. Why? We celebrate it because we're letting the libs run the politics and the conservatives are just backing off. I bet you, I guarantee you, the majority of Americans don't think that we should be taking pictures of sexually confused little kids. I guarantee you the majority of Americans don't think that 13-year-old boys should be dressing up like girls and putting stilettos on and stuff. I promise you, they don't think that. So why are we letting it happen? It's not because the liberals have been, and the progressives and the leftists and whatever term you want to use, have been so incredibly genius and they're just unstoppable. It's mostly because the conservatives surrendered and gave up. Even the drag queens get this. There is a great viral video going around of a drag queen, an actual performing drag queen, saying, guys, why the hell are you all being so supportive of the drag queens?
What in the hell has a drag queen ever done to make you have so much respect for them and admire them so much? Other than put on makeup and jump on the floor and writhe around and do sexual things on stage. I have absolutely no idea why you would want that to influence your child. Would you want a stripper or a porn star to influence your child? It makes no sense at all. A drag queen performs in a nightclub for adults. There is a lot of filth that goes on, a lot of sexual stuff that goes on. And backstage, there's a lot of nudity, sex, and drugs. Okay? And honestly, you're not doing the gay community any favors. In fact, you're hurting us, okay? We have already had a reputation of being pedophiles and being perverts and deviants. We don't need you to bring your children around. So you keep your kids at home, or take them to Disneyland, or take them to Chuck E. Cheese.
Preach! Preach, drag queen! You're telling it like it is. I love that line again. Take them to Chuck E. Cheese. What's wrong with you people? What has a drag queen ever done to make you have so much respect for us? You think, oh, right. It was amazing how quickly the libs did this. They blurred all the lines. They said gay guys, and we need to tolerate gay guys. And by tolerating gay guys, we need to embrace transgenderism for some reason. I don't really quite know how that necessarily follows. And then if we're going to embrace transgenderism, we need to support drag shows. There's even a difference between transgenderism and a drag show. Transgenderism is when a confused man thinks that he's a woman. A drag show is when a deviant man knows that he's not a woman, but thinks it'll be kind of funny to dress up like one and put on a bawdy sexual performance. Those are totally different things. And then this drag queen, he says, what? We're basically strippers. Why are you taking your kids to the stripper shows? What have we done? We haven't done it. The defining feature of a drag queen is putting on sexual shows in nightclubs for adults. The difference between a drag queen and a stripper, well, other than the anatomical differences, is that a stripper puts on a sexual show and a drag queen puts on a funny sexual show. A drag show is just basically a stripper burlesque show with more jokes and humor, right? And you have the drag queen, and the drag queens are really outrageous, and that's why when they do the parades up and down New York, they're telling jokes and doing all sorts of comedy. But that's it. It's just kind of a funnier sex show. You wouldn't take your kid to a strip club. Why would you take your kid to and you wouldn't take your kid even to a late night raunchy comedy show. Why would you take your kid to both of them at the same time? With a lot of sexual confusion added on in addition. Because it's because we have lost our minds on indulgence. I'm not surprised that the libs are pushing this stuff. The libs have always had an interest in sexualizing, well, everybody, and especially kids. They've been writing about this for 100 years. Wilhelm Reich, going back to the early 20th century, this leftist intellectual, said that all of the problems in the world, war, disease, everything in between, they're caused by a lack of orgasms, not joking. And he said that he had invented an orgone accumulator to collect the essence of life and the essence of the world, the orgones floating around. This was mocked in the pop culture as an orgasmatron, and lots of intellectuals on the left had it. Norman Mailer had it. J.D. Salinger had it. Bernie Sanders wrote about this kind of stuff and how we need to sexualize kids. He wrote about it in the 1960s in essays in the Vermont Freeman. You can still read them. I get why the libs are pushing this stuff. It's part of their campaign to upend society. In the words of Marx, ruthlessly criticize everything that exists. My only issue here is why I'm being so harsh on the conservatives here, is what have you been doing? They've been telling you what they want to do for 50 to 100 years now. They've been doing it successfully. And then what do? You say, well, it's not my place. If someone wants to put on a drag show for children, that's a blessing of liberty, and it's not my place to ever have a point of view about that. What? The libs don't think that. The conservatives didn't think that until 5 minutes ago. I'm not even sure you really think that. I just think you've just been deluded, or you're so beaten down by the leftist advances in the culture that you don't have the chutzpah to go out and fight. Come on, push back and fight, guys. I'm so glad you liked that clip. Now, if you wouldn't mind, ring that bell, subscribe, like, get the notifications. Also, please head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your audio podcasts. Click subscribe, and then here's the crucial part, guys. You need to click the link wherever you're watching this or listening to this, and then you've got to email this to your friends. You have to email it, text it, WhatsApp it, MySpace it. You have to do it. There are still people in America who do not have the privilege of watching this show. Make sure you help to rectify that today. We'll see you next time.